Hello, Facebook. We'll see if anybody shows up live for this one. So this is the term that I personally coined when I was going through my experience of um, finding my desire again in life and in sex. So I named this after myself, and it showed up technically when I became a mom, um, when I was married. But when I look back, it was actually like already in place. I just um, was young and didn't realize it. So DVS, or dead vagina syndrome, is a woman basically disconnected from her body, from her power. Um, and it can show up in sex, but also in other ways. But a big place, there's a lot of stats on only 20% of women can have penetrative orgasms. Um, and I think that's way too low. I think it should be 100% of women they are able, and that's one of my goals, I think, is um, all bodies were all made for pleasure, and we are sexual beings, but being disconnected from that, then we disassociate from pleasure. So, for me, I had to teach myself how to accept pleasure. That was a part of my journey. Like, I enjoyed sex, but I didn't necessarily feel it. And I made it all about pleasing the man. So it was like I had to please the man, and I didn't allow myself to feel anything. Especially there, I mean, there was pleasure there, but it especially I was never able to surrender or erupt. And um, throughout the journey, this is what I found in myself and others, is this disconnection, and it shows up all over your life when you're disconnected from your sexuality and your source, and like literally your own body parts. Then you you're not in your fullest expression anywhere in life. Like, you're not really able to fully be in your feminine. You're probably in your wounded masculine expression, and it's just not fun all around. Like, women lack confidence, they lack body confidence. Like, how did it show up for me? Yeah, insecurity. I was a people pleaser, always trying to please everybody else and not me. Um, of course, I'm going to draw blanks on the list of like the symptoms, but the bitchy wife syndrome, emasculating men, um, not having orgasms is a big one, especially penetrative orgasms, deep orgasms, vaginal orgasms, cervical orgasms. Um, yeah, so the rage that women feel, the disconnect, like the under pleasured woman is very agitated and anxious, and she's kind of got this chasing energy, this man hating energy. Um, she's just kind of at rage with the world, whereas a well fucked woman is very calm and confident and um, quietly powerful, and she's very grounded. And there's, the shame and the guilt have been dealt with. Like, the shadow work has been done. Like, there's no more shame or guilt. Well, it's not like she's perfect. None of us will ever be perfect, but there's no more shame and guilt around like all of who she is. And truly having this kind of feminine submission into pleasure is what gives a woman a very magnetic, radiant, peaceful, like calm sovereignty. So that's what we're going for. So DVS is like the crazy, insecure, under-pleasured, um, unpleased during sex, and that shows up in irritability and resentment and blaming and all these kinds of outward things. And the reverse is what we're going for. So the cure is pleasure. The cure is to deal with is the shadow work of where are you holding on to shame and guilt about receiving pleasure, or about being a sexual being, or about your own body parts, like your own boobs and vagina. Like, women literally have shame about these parts. And when we carry that shame, we don't fully embody, and then we don't fully allow pleasure to come through for us, and we can't fully reside in that beautiful space that we do feel most comfortable in. And a lot of it has to do with safety. Like, we're looking for a safe space, but really the safe space is us. Like, we are our own source of safety. When we actually truly realize that, that's when we can be fully in our power. Like, your sense of worth and safety and pleasure is not outside of you. And your desire and your turn on is your responsibility. It's not up to your partner to turn you on, or, you know, who you're dating to turn you on. Like, your turn on is just your turn on. They can amplify it, and you can be attracted to somebody, but as somebody who had lost their turn on for a long time, didn't matter what you put in front of me. It was just like the lights were off. And, you know, 3 kids into it and a lot of stress, and that's just kind of what happened to me. So a lot of times I do speak to mothers, because sex is something that gets kind of like thrown down the list after other things, and it should really be still at the top of the list, is what I advocate and teach. So DVS is not fun for women. It shows up in business. It shows up in her relationship and work as kind of like the unpleasant person to be around. And then it's not her true self. It's not her true self. That's not how she is. And there's probably some deep part of her that knows it. Like, there's got to be more than this, right? And so I invite you to, like, look into where you're denying yourself pleasure. Where is shame and guilt hiding? Like, where are you triggered by other women in their sexuality? How else can you find it if you're just kind of in awareness of it? But triggers are a big thing, and go within and where are you carrying shame about your desires? Desires get a bad rap, and like, one of the beliefs I had to work through was like, I literally felt desires were deadly. I don't know why, but that's what came up when I did the work, and that's crazy. But like, shame for wanting what you want, even when you're a little kid, shows up, and shame around your desires in your sexuality in adulthood. Plus, shame everywhere. People shame some sort of sexual act, so it's just rampant in our culture, and it's not helping any of us, especially women. And so the cure is to do the work and look at your own shame and where you're hiding or reserving, like being reserved, where you're not showing up fully, where you're not allowing in. I can't really see who's watching, but I see some of you joined, so say hi. You know, where are you hiding and holding back? Because if you're holding back in one area, I always say, like, how you show up in the bedroom is how you show up in your business, how you show up in life. So if you're hiding and hanging back in there, then you're going to hide and hang back everywhere. So you got to look at the shame. Like, where is it hanging out? Because I assure you, we all have shame in there. Shame is the magic killer. So that's what we like go dig up and work on, like cultivating your turn on, like living in your turn on takes practice. It takes consistency. It's like going to the gym to work out. Like, you have to work it has to become a practice to be a pleasured woman. It doesn't come naturally to some of us. Like, because we've been so brainwashed into that it's bad. And I don't even mean self-pleasure. I mean just literally like being okay having something for you and not feeling guilty about it. Like guilt was something I lived with constantly it was just a crazy feeling. It's always there. I always felt guilty. So DVS, no bueno. So begin to cultivate the practice of pleasure. If you're looking to dive deeper, hi Petya, into curing DVS. Speaking of Petya, now I remember one of the symptoms is like classic mom and wife is when your brain goes to your to-do list during sex, like that's beginning stages of DVS. And I'm laughing because Petya and I have an inside joke about that. Like if you're not present during sex and you're not enjoying the pleasure available to you, you're disconnecting. And that's part of what happens in this syndrome. You're disconnecting. You're literally not being there for your pleasure. So I invite you to come back to center and feel what's available for you. So my course Pleasure is where I'm going to dive deeper into all these topics, into all the different kind of orgasms, to open up your varying degrees of dead vaginas. When the heart opens, which is basically your heart. When your heart opens, so does your yoni, so does your throat. We do a lot of woo-woo healing, like spiritual healing around these areas so that you can experience more pleasure in your life. And there's like literal ways that we do that. I'll share all my different ways to teach you how to awaken the different areas, to achieve the different orgasms, to connect with your partner, to feel safe in the masculine, to learn how to communicate with the masculine. It doesn't even matter if it's a male or female. Like I'm just talking about the energies, or to communicate with your partner of their opposite polarity of energy. Because we both have masculine and feminine energy in us. So it's not, I don't mean necessarily gender, but relationships can like, I transformed mine, and clients, like they turn their long-term partnerships around by embracing pleasure. So it's super fun. I know it doesn't seem fun. I seem kind of like blah today. I gave up coffee, and so I'm like a little dragging today. But I am really excited about it. I'm just minus coffee right now. And it's going to be really fun. It is life-changing for women. So if you're looking to explore your divine feminine, to embody, this is like kind of the energy going on right now because the North Node is in Cancer, and the feminine, she's awakening. I say she's getting on her knees, and that may trigger you a little bit, but the feminine is the queen in submission, and that's not powerless, that's powerful. So I'm going to teach you to get on your knees, and I'm not talking about like, it's like a spiritual concept that I'm very, it's near and dear to my heart, this exaltation that is required to drop fully into your feminine. It's a very powerful place. So we start out August 6th. I'll post the link. What else do you know? If you want to work with me privately, you can PM me for an application. I have 6-month spots. Very interesting, Nikki says. Which part was very interesting? Just curious. And so, yeah, I have 2 spots available for August for one-on-one clients, where we will awaken your desire and turn on. Or even if you already feel, if you just want to dive deeper into healing the daddy wounds, cock blocks, money issues. Like those are my favorite things in the world to look at. This actually opens you up to more money, because if you cannot receive cock, and by cock I also mean the cosmic cock, like your own divine masculine essence. Like, sorry, my phone keeps going off. You're also gonna cock block money, and I was queen of cock blocking money. So that's one of my favorite things to work on, and we definitely look into that. So this is the art of receiving, opening your up. Yeah. It's my favorite topic. So yeah, it's the art of becoming whole, like dancing in the shadows, like shadow work. The part of us that's shut down and hidden and ashamed. And a lot of us we carry all these wounds in sex and money. So that's where I play, is we look at that specifically. So yeah, come join us in pleasure if you are interested in awakening your sexuality, deepening it. Like, even if you can already orgasm during sex, like, it can get better. Like, there's always more. There's always deeper. There's more intimate. There's bigger and better. And it's like furthering the connection to your divinity, I think. And it opens up you in all areas of life. So come play in my playground. The Good Girl Graveyard is my brand name for a reason, because we're all carrying these stories around who we should be, and that's not who we really are. So in pleasure, we begin to open up the real sexual you and invite in all this goodness and juiciness into your life. Yeah, the Queen of Submission. Yeah, and this is something that I learned. Like, I was very, I was not going to submit. That's how I was raised, with a very dominant man that I had to submit to, and I was like, no. So this, like, when I say it brought me to my knees, this work, it literally brought me to my knees. I had to, you have to submit to yourself. And I was even unwilling to do that for years. That's how, like, resistant I was to submission to the masculine, my own masculine. So whatever we think about our daddy, the daddy wound, the God wound, how we see that is how we see, that's like our own internal tyrant, our own inner masculine. That's how I was viewing myself and the world. And that wasn't a very fun place for me. And so it was like this little 5-year-old throwing a tantrum and refusing to submit to herself. So it's been quite a journey, and one that I don't wish on anyone else. But if you're in that kind of place, then I can definitely help you, because I've been there. So yeah, dang, I am not good at keeping live streams short. So thanks for you guys that have, yeah, and you can absolutely be dominant while also being, like, you can be powerful and submissive. And I'm not sure when you mean dominant, but you absolutely need to be, like, in your masculine in business to, like, get shit done. Otherwise, we kind of, like, wander around and pretend to be working. We're not really making any money. I also did that. So we come from this, like, really wounded place because we're rejecting the divine masculine. And then we're not fully embodying. So can you absolutely be dominant and feminine? Yes. But you still have to submit to, like, and surrender to yourself, like the masculine energy of the universe, and then be safe in the feminine energy. You can still be very dominant. I kind of consider myself like a mix of the two also. So it's fun to play with those. So thanks for talking about that, Nikki. That's really cool. And I like interacting on that. So I appreciate you commenting. So yes, DVS is no bueno for women, and we need to cure it immediately. So one way is to join Pleasure. Hey, you can work with me. You can start doing your own work by just being aware, like just being aware where you're disconnected yourself from your sexuality, from your true power. Where are you refusing to submit or trust, like to your own? How many of you get ideas and you don't take action on them, or you don't trust that they'll pan out, or they don't, or you talk yourself out of them? It's kind of like this cycle of not trusting. So kind of listening to your intuition and is a sense submitting, right, to your masculine self, to yourself, in a sense, that part of you, and playing with when to be in the receptive energy and then when to be in that more go-getter energy, and it's a dance. And so, yay for dancing. Okay, my loves, I'm out of here. I think 20 minutes is plenty. I have to go pick up children. So, yeah, everybody go join pleasure, because DVS is yucky. We don't need that in our lives. We need empowered, turned on women. Okay. Mwah.